I'm Helen Benoit, and welcome to my studio. Painting outdoors, we have the problem of distance from front to back. The first thing on most all pictures, landscape, still life, portrait, you have to really place the focal point. I can't put it in the middle, and I don't want it in the corners, and so what's left over is the third. Here is the portico. This is the opening of the where this gate is, and it's a wonderful arch. Wonderful arch. You see a lot of them in Italy, and some of the facades are old, and you can see the plaster over the brick. That always fascinates me. I just feel that a painting is more building a picture than drawing a picture, and so I'm interested in building. And so one of the things you have to take into consideration when you're painting outdoors is perspective. This is going out that way, and so there's a line, and it's nestled into this gate. And by the way, this is the wider part of the gate that I see. This part's disappearing behind the wall here because of my point of view. And that's going to give me a clue as to construct the iron gate that stopped the people from going in there. I wonder what is in back of that gate. And it's a pretty thing. It goes like this, and then these lines, this line goes up to my eye level, at a vanishing point on my eye level. This is going to the same eye level, and this one is 2, and this one is 2. Perspective is one of the factors we have to learn and appreciate when we paint, because it describes how shapes are distorted by the place that you are looking at. Once you're aware that there's such a thing as perspective, you start to see things a little differently. And if you see it, you can paint it. It's the innocent eye that doesn't take his perspective into consideration. So that's the composition. My lighting is coming from above and from here, which stops the lighting from being under this arch. And this arch is casting a shadow right here. Now, I saw there was a tree over here that casted a shadow on the facade, which helped too. And there was another tree over here that made a cast shadow fall this way. And that establishes the composition in that this was a tree, a dark tree in back of the gate. Since the gate is what I'm in love with and I'm intrigued with, I have to put everything in and save my gate for last. And I'm even going to take out this drawing here so that I can see what the design is that I have. See if it's placed right. See if we can look as though we can walk into that. Let me see it from a distance. I think I'll make this cast shadow come down here a little bit more. I love the sunlight striking on the facades. And so sunlight in paint is white and warm, so it's a warm color, yellow. And let's put some nice, juicy, sensuous, warm color, warm sunlight, where the sun is hitting this. Don't be afraid. Nothing to be afraid of. No one knows you're doing the painting. You're doing it to crystallize what you've been impressed with. Make a picture of it. I think I'll cut this down a little bit. Make it smaller. Yeah, I like that better. And sky. Always start with white, big blob. And a very sunny sky is also warm, especially in Italy. So instead of putting blue into white, I'm putting phthalo green. And look at how that blooms. I'm going to put that back in here. And now these trees. Landscapes are usually thought of as sky, mountains, a stream, a barn, a house. And living in Rockport, we can see the ocean right from our house. So paint what you feel comfortable with. Paint your own world. Now this shadow needs some work. Very often, when you're painting a shadow casting on a surface, you can make your brush strokes in the direction of what's the cast of the lighting. It helps give the light effect. And violet on yellow. That never changes. It's awfully nice to know the rules, because if you know the rules, you know just how far to deviate from the rules. You don't know the rules, you're liable to deviate too far. But you know the rules so that you can break them. In that particular circumstance, this is a color that you really need on your palette. It's Venetian red, and it's this duller red, brick color or rust color. And here are those bricks showing here too. What a delightful addition of color. And the bricks were showing here. The plaster broke away. And then this wonderful masonry. And here I've been telling you how fascinated I am with gates, and I haven't even gotten to the gate yet. You have a lot of preparation ahead of time. When I paint on the spot, meaning outdoors, not in my studio such as I am now, I use a smaller palette. I use more limited palette of colors. I don't need all of these, because really I don't think we can paint much longer than an hour and a half. And you don't want to cart stuff all over the place either. And this is where some of this greenery came sneaking through the gate, but I think I have to put the gate in first. So we get an idea, God only knows why, and we have to paint it to address and satisfy our curiosity And if it's a sincere feeling that we get from seeing this, and you have some experience with your paint, maybe the feeling will get in the picture. Because painting is an automatic self-expression. You don't have to be taught how to express yourself. You only have to be taught the craft that enables your self-expression to be pictorially dramatic. Let me see how this looks. Yes, I think that's ready for the gate now. And I'm going to put the gate in with a palette knife because I have to overcome this color. This is why we have to step back before we execute something in painting, because if it's wrong, you have to take it out. And it's not a good idea. You like to get it at the first shot. So I think that this palette knife is going to overtake the green a lot better than my brush. Remember before I had that lined up, and I had this too, and then there's another band here. And there's this covered part here. So no one can crawl in there who's not allowed to be there. And then there's the post in the middle. So I use a maul stick to steady my hand. And now all these little pieces of iron, all rusted. When I paint outdoors, I always do a little one that I can use as a reference to do a larger one in my studio. I also take a photograph. But I never work just from a photograph that I haven't taken, because I don't really know it. I haven't really experienced it. Working from a photograph that you have taken makes this picture an original. People worry, say, well, if it's done from a photograph, it isn't original. Of course it's original. If it's a photograph that helps you record your inspiration, we can't deny that photography is part of our 20th century. You should work from life a lot, though. Don't work just from photograph. You get that photographic look. People say, gee, well, you know, I'm going to get back at Rembrandt again. He never got a photographic look. Why? He never saw a photograph. So he painted realism. I'm a gullibilist. I believe in everything. You can't be disrespectful when you paint, because you invade your attitudes on nature. And there's the fact that this gate has seen better days, and that it's overgrown. To make this greenery look as though it's coming from behind, I'm going to go bigger, and then I'm going to make this wall a hard edge and come right in front of it. Oh my, from a distance I saw that I really need some darks on this gate because it just doesn't stand out enough. So let me do that. Lights are easy to put on with a palette knife because lights have white and a palette knife needs thickness, but darks are thin. So it's not a good idea to try to put the darks in with a palette knife. The gate maker is going to have my head for doing this gate that's crazy, but after all, gives the impression of it. I hope that you'll join me again sometime at my easel when there'll be another adventure in oil painting, or maybe I'll just teach you how to make soup.